look what a good ownership group can do. With just a couple months, they can already find a stadium location. Took 20 years the other time, so it's fantastic. But without further ado, let's introduce our special guest because she's here. You guys know her more colloquially as Tampa Bay Tay on social media and all of that stuff. Taylor, welcome back to the pod because you were on earlier this season as we were talking about. Speaking of stadium related stuff, the last time we had you on, we were talking about the whole Steinbrenner experience. Now, more things coming up with this whole thing. So, first off, welcome back and happy 2026 to you.
Happy 2026. Thank you guys for having me back on. I'm happy to be on when we're talking about exciting stadium news anytime.
I know
Heck
it's
yeah.
it's really good vibes. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
So on that note, let's get into more of detail with it. So for those that didn't see what happened, the Tampa Bay Business Journal put out an article saying that there's going to be some sort of a special meeting, whatever it is, happening next Tuesday or the 20th. So this coming Tuesday about essentially the HCC or it's the well, what was it? The Hillsborough College Board of Directors is I don't know if Ray's Brass is going to be there or what's going to happen with that, but essentially they're holding a meeting to figure out the future of that location because that's been a location that the new Raiders ownership group has targeted as the essentially their new forever home for the franchise. So the meeting more or less is going to decide in what direction things are going to be going moving forward. This is the first of many dominoes that need to happen in order to get a new stadium. But Taylor, do you want to add anything on anything else that I'm missing? I guess off the jump with that.
No, that's pretty much what's going to happen. I do believe I didn't get a chance to. I literally just got off another meeting, so I haven't had a chance to read Topper's recent article, but I do believe it read that not only are they going to be voting on this, but that they're going to be presented like with some detail on not just giving up the land and like what that looks like, but actually specifics. So I do think there's going to be a good turnout, people there to present this idea to them on Tuesday. And obviously they're aware of it, but this is kind of going to be that formality that kicks off the next chapter in our stadium saga. But this time a lot different. You hear it and you kind of cringe because we went through it for decades at this point, but there's a different tune to this go around.
Yeah, so what I'm seeing off of the article, it was done by a couple of people, including Colleen Wright, who we've had on the pod. She's done some great stuff in St.
She's
Pete.
great.
Yeah, oh, she's fantastic.
Mhm.
So it's hold a special meeting at 4 p.m. on January 20th to hear the Rays plan for the site. This is all from the article. The Rays have asked the college to enter into a final binding agreement, which would result in a major transformation of the campus, according to the meeting agenda. Then there's a quote here from the board chairman. On Tuesday, the board will consider a non-binding memorandum of understanding with the Rays, which the board can terminate at any time. If it's approved, the Rays and Hillsborough College will draft a deal to be approved at a later meeting according to the agenda item. So essentially, it's more or less like if we remember back to what was like 2016 or whatever when the Rays had to do that memorandum of understanding to go look at other sites for a new stadium.
Mhm.
I'm assuming this is literally just with this place to say, okay, we're going to start working on finalizing the agreement that this is going to be the site that we're going to build the new stadium and figure out everything else after that point. At least that's what I'm understanding from that.
Yeah, definitely. First step that we need to take. So this is the beginning of the next.
Yes. Gibby, so I know, I mean, we experienced what it was like with Steinbrenner and that being as close to you as it was last year. Now, with this understanding that this is more or less the site that the Rays want to go to, and it's literally right next to the place that it took us, I don't know, what was it, like a 20-minute drive or so to get there? Not even. Uh,
Yeah.
so with that, like, how excited are you for that being someone who lives on the Tampa side of things and has driven to it both in St. Pete and in now experience it in Tampa to know kind of this is where it's going to be moving forward?
I mean, definitely not my like preferred location, but I mean, in Tampa nonetheless is just great and right around Steinbrenner is still pretty close to me. So, yeah, that'd be a great location. It's right next to the airport. I mean, I imagine there'd be some kind of shuttle to the stadium that will you'll be able to go because they are making a lot of shuttle extensions at the said airport, but I mean, it is across the runway, so I don't know how that would work, uh, but yeah, there's definitely like a lot of proximity to the airport. right there at HCC's campus. A lot of those buildings are pretty old, so I imagine some of them will be going away. But there's a lot of new buildings that were just built on that campus, so I'm
Yeah.
interested to see how it goes going forward because they definitely want to do. I mean, every stadium. We talk about this every time, how every single person, every single sports franchise is aiming to do this. They just want to do what the Braves did, make a battery, make a bunch of amenities around the stadium and kind of capture that as well, because there's always some new angle. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But it is a pretty huge site. I mean, there's a lot of people use that for parking at the Bucks games. So it's just a huge parking lot basically, and then there's like a pretty small school where HCC is. So I imagine it can be shared
Yeah.
still. So uh, we'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see what the plan is with what buildings they want to take down. I did go at HCC. I did go there. I didn't go to that specific campus a lot. Went there my first semester, but uh, yeah. So I got a lot of loyalty to HCC. So
You don't
I'm
want
gonna
to
be
see it
paying
knocked
attention.
down.
I'm a fellow Hawk, so we're gonna be paying attention. So
Yeah,
uh,
I think from what I saw, it sounds like it's going to be more or less like a reimagining of it instead of like they're going to get rid of it completely. Because like I know, I mean, that site itself is like 110 acres or so, and
Hmm.
that's more or less like, Zalupski and company wanted 100 plus acres to go figure out all this stuff. Um, but it does sound like to an extent that the college is still going to be there. I know that there's 5 different campuses. So if they were to just knock down the college completely, I don't know the whole other side of the coin, which is like, where do all of the students go? How do you figure out those other campuses and things like that? Um, but yeah, it's like, Taylor, did you get any sort of indication as to like they might still be keeping the school in the plans and just reconfiguring things?
Yeah, I've heard a few different chattering that HCC will still have a connection to that site
Okay.
in some form. But specifically, obviously don't know, but they will be represented, if I may, on that piece of land. So it'll be interesting how it comes together. But I think the reason why we've ended up at HCC, if you will, is because of that 100 plus acreage. I know a lot of people were wanting Ybor or whatever, but it really came down to size. And I think one of the interesting quotes that I've heard from Babby, I want to say, is that they've talked a lot with the developers of the battery. They've immersed themselves in every step of what Atlanta did. And the main piece of advice that they got was that, that the Braves wish they could have done was more land. So, if anywhere that gives them enough room to cultivate that environment, that district, that's what they're going to kind of make happen, I think, and that's why we landed at HCC.
Yeah, yeah, that seems to make a lot of sense. I know, like from what I'm understanding from people, there's a little bit of divide in terms of like we're so happy that this is happening where it is, but also we wish maybe it was in a certain different location, wherever it is. But again, if the land is there and they need so much land in order to want to get this thing done, as they said back in October with their introductory presser, then like
Mhm.
if this space is available, even if it's like a block away from one of the runways of the airport, which I did a little bit of Google mapping and figuring that out, I didn't realize it was that close. Like
oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's
it
super
that's
close.
butts up to it. That's why you got those pretty sunset airplanes taking off at Steinbrenner. Just
that makes a lot of sense. Like I knew it
right
was
there.
close. I didn't realize, but like I didn't realize that the campus itself, whatever
Hmm.
that like acreage is, was like literally right up to where whatever the fencing is for the actual
Yeah,
like I didn't realize it was that close, which is wild. I
it
knew it was
is.
close, but
Yeah,
to that
that's why they
extent.
brought on what's his name? Joe Lampano. Lampano. He is hired as a consultant because he's worked at TPA for so long and knows the ins and outs of what's it going to take to build so close to the airport. So
Yeah, that makes
they're
sense.
thinking it through, like I think that a lot of people don't want to give them any credit because we've been burned for so long and this is a touchy subject, but I mean, they are doing their due diligence, so
I've
that's good.
been I've been impressed. This is like the most optimistic, and I'm assuming that they're not going to try to screw this up because they know in them buying the team, the whole intent was to A, get a stadium figured out, and then B, get everything else figured out after that point. But
Yeah.
like, I know still in the back of my head, there's like, oh shit, what if it goes wrong?
Yeah.
Because there's always that with the Rays because we've been burned. I mean, there was three legitimate stadium plans that happened between 2009 and 2023 or
Yeah.
2024, whatever it is, and all of those died. So having that in a 16-year span of time, who knows what can happen? But it does like genuinely seem like things are on the right path, and the fact that they were able to figure this out in 3 months, 3+ months, 4 months is a credit to them. On top of that, because I know that you went to the All Star game last year, so you
Mhm.
experienced what the battery was. I went there in what was it, 2019? So that
Mhm.
was a while ago, and it looked a lot different than I'm sure it looks right now. But we've both been to the battery, and we both understand what it is. From your perspective, can you like for those who haven't been and maybe haven't even seen it, because I'm sure that people have seen photos of it, but
Mm.
how would you describe your experience at the battery and what it was like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why going forward, all major league teams are going to use this as the blueprint because we've learned, I guess, that standalone stadiums are just a thing of the past. You
Yeah.
really have to build out an environment, a neighborhood. You have to have, restaurants and bars and hotels and even residences. So it's so lively there. Obviously, I was there during the All-Star break, so of course it's going to be poppin', if you will. But it's just such a it pulls you in, and I think that for the longest time, and God knows I love the Trop, so it's no disrespect, but you have something plopped in the middle of a parking lot. It doesn't draw you in necessarily, but there are so many things to do outside the battery, if it's get a drink or have dinner with someone. And the way they have like a lawn situation where even if you're not going to the game, you can watch the game from outside, and it's just very inviting. And I think that, like I said, teams and owners have learned that that's kind of where you're going to make your money, that you hope to put back into your team. So, from a fan's perspective, I know that I try to have more of a casual fan mindset because not everyone's crazy as I am. But, if you can get people to just want to go to this district, maybe not necessarily because they want to go watch a baseball game, but they end up at a baseball game. That's how you're going to churn out, success, I think, as an owner. And I'm not sure if you listened to the Babby pod that came out today, but he very much alluded on that is going to be their business model, is that they want to enhance fan experience the most that they can, and providing a battery-like facility is how they plan to do that. And I think that's the perfect way to go about it. I think that it's a really a genius idea. Like when I saw the battery, when I was there, I was like, this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Why isn't every team doing this? And then now it's like, okay, so they are. And they flew the mayor out there. They flew out the mayor of Tampa specifically so that she could go see it firsthand. So this is their vision, and it's a no-brainer in my eyes, obviously, but it's just going to take all of the bureaucracy of getting it done. The vision is there, the idea is there, and it just needs to come to fruition. Like you said, we've seen so many things in the last 16, 20 years. I'm past the rendering stage. I've seen enough renderings for a lifetime. So I'm hoping
It's
that,
painful. Like I'm
yeah,
done with it's so like Gibby, how annoyed are you with the whole rendering shit? Like I'm it's been so I hate it so much.
Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen a lot of stadiums, but
yeah.
it gives you inspiration.
Yeah, I've
There's
imagined myself
a lot
walking
of
into
inspiring art.
stadiums that'll never
Yeah,
exist.
a lot of inspiring architects, just taking a shot at it, and
That's one way to get your
they look pretty cool.
portfolio.
They look
That is
pretty cool at least.
that is
Cool
pretty
idea.
It is. Well, I was going to say, so on that note, I will say, I think St. Pete has done a good job of, I wouldn't say necessarily um, copying or like duplicating what the Battery has done, but and Gibby, I want to get you in on this too. Like there is a lot to do on that street that's like basically right next to the Trop where Fergs is and all that. Then if you go
Mhm.
down a mile past the Trop the other way, you have Three Daughters and I think another couple places to eat and drink, things like that. So like I feel like that's good. Like Gibby, what do you like? What have you felt? Because I don't know how much that you've like after games gone to any of those places, but like, do you feel like at least what they've tried to do outside of the Trop is commendable in terms of just creating some sort of vibrant nightlife or whatever?
Yeah, I mean that St. Pete downtown area is pretty nice. Fergus is cool. The tunnel right under to the game uh is pretty cool. It just doesn't have everyone wants like a really city integrated ballpark now. I mean, everyone's trying basically what the Battery is like a corporatized, almost like a more corporatized like rendition of like how Wrigley Field was made, where Wrigley Field was made and then all these businesses just sprung around it, almost like how Disneyland in California got surrounded by a bunch of other businesses competing. And then
That's a good
Wrigley
point.
just kind of built itself into the city, and now it's just integrated there, where people don't literally don't take a car to the game. They have, they take a subway to the game, like 90% of the fans there. So it's like uh, everyone's trying to make that, and so if they're, I think it'll be pretty cool if they can pull it off in this location.
Yeah, I do
Because
wonder.
that enhances Bucks games as well, because
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
that's going to be a part, probably a big part of it. If they're not already wanting to go in on it pretty heavily, because the Bucks, they want to upgrade their stadium. They want a roof, for some reason. Uh, I mean,
That
it makes sense. It gets pretty hot.
I was gonna say it's
It
miserable.
it, it kind of makes sense, but you know, I
having
like it.
experienced, well, I was gonna say having experienced baseball games in the sun last year, roofs are the greatest invention ever
Yeah,
created.
Yeah.
greatest invention.
I'm like sad I'll never get a skyline, but it's okay.
I'll suck it up. Who cares? I would rather be comfortable going to a
Mhm.
game than like die.
Yeah, no,
And
it was
depending on where,
miserable.
if they put it like how they put, well, Ray J will be blocking it, but there is
Yeah,
a
there would be no
possibility.
really skyline. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
is a possibility to see it behind Ray J, though.
Steinbrenner had like a really cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was the one redeeming quality of it, even though it was a minor league stadium, was the fact that you could see the skyline right next to Ray J, and
Hmm.
that was legitimately sick. Like I love that, but I was like, I'm not doing this for more than a year because this was this. It was like it was not fun. It was
Yeah,
a
it's just
hundred.
No.
too hot.
It's 100 plus heat index all the time. I do
Hmm.
wonder, because you mentioned Wrigley. I wonder how much they would want to integrate stuff that happened, like stuff in Wrigleyville and then stuff outside of Fenway, even though those stadiums have been there for 100 plus years. I wonder how much that sort of thing would also factor into what they want to do, or if they just want to go straight into what the Battery is. Because again, the Battery is in like its own place. They were like,
Yeah,
okay, Turner Field is a thing, but like Turner Field's in kind of a weird spot. And like we want our own spot that's nowhere near Atlanta and is going to be hell for people to have to deal with on the highways. So we're going to go find our own spot in a city that's not an actual city. It's technically more in a county than a city, and then figure it all out there. I wonder if they're more on that route or more on that, plus adding in kind of the charm, if they can even create that, the charm of what Wrigleyville is and what the whole Fenway area is. I do wonder how much that'll factor into the mix. I doubt it, but yeah, I mean, you never know.
Yeah. I
I
think
mean,
they'll
well, I was
I
gonna
think they'll
say,
figure it out.
I wonder if they would like even stuff at like Amalie. I wonder if they would consider, or I guess it's not Amalie anymore. The bench. My fault. I'm dating myself. Um,
Mm. It's the
the
Ice Palace for me, so I'm
yeah,
really dating myself.
St. Pete Times Forum, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
The Bolts Arena. I wonder if they would consider any of that too, because I know that they've built that up around it. It's pretty nice.
Hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, the thing about it is they get this. fresh slate to reimagine exactly what they want.
Hmm.
And, I find Babby to be extraordinarily interesting in the fact that he's had two minor league teams and he's implemented so many things. And I just think he's very fan forward. So if they can build some sort of charm, if you will, like you were saying, then yeah, it's they're going to do that if that is within, their choice.
Yeah.
But I mean, 100 plus acres, that's huge. And to be honest with you, I think the stadium itself, the ballpark itself, is not going to be the biggest or anything like that. It's going
No.
to probably be the bare minimum, nice, but the bare minimum. So it's all going to be about that experience and getting people drawn to it. So that's why I'm excited because we've never had that. And to your point about St. Pete, I mean, St. Pete is not the same as it was 10 years ago, even.
Yeah.
And to
Nope.
St. Pete's credit, it's really built itself alone.
100%. 100%. It looks a
And
lot nicer.
yeah, and it's nice to see and everything, but I have never really felt the partnership between like what St. Pete was doing in terms of businesses and things like that. And it's great and it's flourishing, but it's never really tied into the Rays too much, except for Fergs is kind of like your liaison between the two.
But I
Um,
mean, you're right. It does kind of just like the trop is there, and then these things happen to be right next to it, and then happen to be,
yeah.
building themselves up just because that's what happens in a growing city.
Yeah, yeah. But if we can find a way to kind of marry the two, I think that's what the vision is with HCC. So we'll see.
Yeah, I like it. I think that there's a lot of positive things to be had with this, and I'm very excited to see what happens moving forward. Again, we are still very much in the early stages. We'll find out what happens on Tuesday. I would assume that they would vote for it just based on how things are, especially if they're still willing to and wanting to keep the, HCC around and just kind of reconfigure things. I would doubt that they would say no. And then from there, then we start figuring out what's the next steps from that point. So we'll see what happens with it, but at least for now, I think we're in a really good spot moving forward, and definitely a lot of positivity to be had with it. I think that's really, really good. Um, Moving forward from that, so from the whole stadium thing, we go into the news that I mean, we knew that the whole fan fest thing was going to happen at some point, but we're going to get our fan fest. It's going to be back around the Trop. It won't be in the Trop because if it was, then the Trop would be done, and it's not done yet. So it'll be outside the Trop. It'll be basically on the home plate side of things is where like not on the parking lot side, not on the outfield parking lot side. It'll be on the infield home plate side of things. 16th Street. It'll happen on Valentine's Day, which I don't know if that's a slight to Rays fans or not, because I know that a lot of Rays fans have a lot of loving relationships. So hopefully, this is your romantic way of taking your partner out to
Maybe.
do something fun. Um, well, I'm being positive. I'm being optimistic.
That's where I'll be.
Well, regardless, it's happening on Valentine's Day, February 14th. It's a Saturday. I think it's from like 1 to
To five.
5. Yeah, 1 to 5. Plenty of things going on. There's the garage sale that everyone looks forward to, and everyone in the front picks out everything that they want, and over picks out everything, and then no one gets anything in the back. Just like we saw whatever that yard sale, whatever that thing was to help benefit. What was that in like the middle of the season? I know that was a
Beginning,
disaster.
yeah. It
Yeah,
was awful.
yeah, that was a disaster. Not the actual fan fest that happened over on St. Pete
Mm.
Beach. The other one
The
that
yard
happened.
sale.
Yeah, the art sale was a disaster from what I heard from all accounts.
Absolutely.
Uh,
$40 I'll never get back
yeah,
for
yeah,
nothing.
yeah. Not really a great vibe there, and I'm hoping that the new ownership group realizes how much that stunk up the joint. But yeah, it's just the same thing has happened before. There's autograph sessions with players. There's things to do with kids. The best mascot trio in sports is out there. Like I said, the community-wide yard sale. There's going to be some sort of a thing happening with, I would assume, Raise ownership or Raise leadership is what they said. I'm curious to see what that is. I
Yeah.
unfortunately won't be there, but obviously plenty of you guys listening will. So I'm curious to see what that is, and then other stuff. It'll be outside, which will be fun. Again, so it'll be the second straight year that it's outside. And back in St. Pete, even though it wasn't St. Pete in 2025, it'll actually feel like it's a legit, uh, fan fest and all of that stuff before the season. So I'm curious to see how it is, but Um, First off, wanted to see if so. Taylor, you said you're going. Gibby, are you planning on going to Le Fan Fest?
I'm not sure right now,
Okay,
but maybe.
TBD.
He might have big
Maybe.
Valentine's Day plans.
That
Yeah,
is true.
exactly.
That is true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Um, but regardless, excitement level, just the fact that this has all been done, the fact that this has all been figured out. How excited are we about just what the Fan Fest is going to look like this year?
You want that one, Gibby?
Um, yeah, I mean, it'll, but I don't know if they're gonna have anything left in their garage sale.
They
You
won't.
know, they kind of cleaned that one out, but
Yeah.
you know, I think everything else will go pretty well.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll be nice to have eyes on the Trop. I think this year, just in general, is all about the Trop, which I know is kind of weird to say after we just spent, 10 minutes talking about the potential new stadium.
It's a
But
good point.
I really do think with the money that they have paid out of pocket to enhance the Trop on the inside, obviously we're not going to see that during FanFest, but it's all about that, visual of we're back, we're going back inside, we're going to experience these new things. Honestly, they're implementing a lot of new things that we haven't had in the past. The all-inclusive ticket, revamping the party deck is what I also call it. So I think that it's going to be a nice reintroduction to the excitement that we feel going back to the Trop. And, I love a good block party. I'm excited to see. As far as that leadership thing goes, I know last year at the Pier, I got to talk to and interact with Kevin Cash and Kyle Snyder, who took a lot of questions and made themselves available on like a stage type situation. But I wouldn't be surprised if Babby makes his presence known as well. I went to an event at Ferg's that he spoke at, so I do think that he will be part of that leadership. But it's kind of going to be, in a way, an introduction to the new ownership. So it's kind of like a meet and greet in a way, like obviously the players and stuff and the autographs, but also this is kind of our first face-to-face interaction that the fan base is going to have with a new regime. So I think that's exciting. People are going to go to FanFest no matter what because they like FanFest, but I think how it's different will be kind of the exciting element to it.
Very much so. On that note, so you mentioned because I think the biggest thing alongside the whole fan fest thing in that press release that came out a couple days ago or yesterday or whatever it was the all-inclusive ticket, which we saw debut last year alongside. And I think they didn't even advertise it. I'm pretty sure, like, when I saw it on the thing, I was like one of the first people to say, "Hey guys, this is a thing if you've never been."
Mm.
Um, which, like, again, it came out of nowhere. They didn't really say much about it, but it was alongside the whole $20 standing room ticket thing. It was in that same website that they did for Steinbrenner. There
Mm.
was the Budweiser first base rooftop, whatever the heck that was. They had the all-inclusive thing. For games, it was originally like 50, and then they increased it to 60, I think, at some point during the year. Same sort of vibe as what's going on with this current ticket package. It's just it'll be happening up in the 300 level, whatever you want to call it, the seats that are in left field, the party deck, the
The
beach.
bleachers.
Yeah. The bleacher seats that are up in left field above the 100 level. Um, so I checked I tried to do as much due diligence on my end to try to figure out what the hell the ticket prices are. I know, so they don't start out at 49. So they lied about the ticket price to start off with because I think it starts off at like 40 something and then there's like $5 or so in fees. So it's like 46 bucks it starts out as and it goes up to like 89 mainly for the Yankees games and for opening day. So I think roughly half the games are that $46 price. It's mostly just weekday games, and that includes like games against the Mariners, games against the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, teams like that. It's just the weekend games are all 60 and above, even if they're playing against a bad team. I know the Cubs series, the second two games are 70 plus, other than the first game, and then the Yankees series is 80 plus, and the Mets series is 60. Um, there might be some other things, but essentially half the games are going to be in that $46 range, which is in full honesty, a fantastic deal to go see the Rays. Like, I mean, even if you're paying more, I understand if you don't want to go, but like the fact that you're paying that much, or that little, I should say, you have everything included. You're going to go watch the Rays. It's going to be a good time. I think it's worth it. I didn't get a chance to do it last year, Gibby. I don't think that we never got a chance to do it, and we probably should have, but we didn't get a chance to do it last year, did we? I don't
What was
think
that?
about the all inclusive ticket
Oh
thing.
yeah, I never did that. No.
No, it did look sick though. But Taylor, did you get a chance to do it at all?
I did do it.
Okay.
I did it at the towards the beginning of the season when I
Okay.
was like, what is this? I've never done this.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will say from my experience, like it was pretty easy to get the tickets at the beginning of the season, but then I think it was hard. Like they would sell out pretty quickly.
Mhm.
And to my point, I do think that this ownership group is in tune with the fan base and they saw how well, I don't think they ever had to beg for those tickets to sell ever.
No.
And they were a little bit more pricey. Now, granted, you're in a smaller stadium, the seat is a little bit better, obviously, than being in the bleachers. But it was still something that they took note of that people like this, all-inclusive vibe. I mean, you drink 3 to 4 beers and you've made your money back, and that's not even counting back, the food that you're also going to have.
Yeah,
So it
100%.
it didn't take long for people to do the math and realize that they like it. So I think it's cool. I also think that they're not just making that an option in the bleachers, they're actually like enhancing it. They're going to add some like cool skyway type situation. It's going to be called the Sky Deck. So it's not just like taking what they already have and slapping an all-inclusive on it. They're also just kind of making it nicer and more of some, more inviting, if you will. So I think it'll be I think it'll be nice because I used to sit out there for $10 so and get nothing. So it's nice that just a little bit more and you can feed your family or whatever the case may be. So I like it. It's new, it's different, and I'm sure it'll be well received.
Yeah, Gibby, would you consider? I know that we didn't get we didn't get a chance to do it last year, but would you consider buying one of those tickets and sitting in that seat this year, considering what out all the
Before the all-inclusive thing, I would say no because I don't like those seats very much. But with the all-inclusive thing, it might be a little bit more appetizing, just to more casually join the game. I just don't, it's a little far away for me. That's the only thing I don't like about the ledge, but I would definitely consider it for the food and the drink.
Yeah.
That's probably the reason why that they're doing that is because they know that
Yeah.
it's so far away that they're like, okay, guys, how can we get people up
Why don't
there?
they just do something with the third deck and then leave all the seats above it, just with the
They
tarp
will be
on?
doing something with the third deck.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Is
That
that
might be cool.
is anything confirmed with
I
that
can't
yet?
do like cool eyebrow stuff, but I was trying.
Is that
Uh,
is anything confirmed with that yet, or what's the situation there?
yeah, they have announced or they have said on record that at some point this season the 300 deck will be open.
I mean, that'll be interesting. Yeah, I
That'll
know
be
a lot of it
interesting.
was like staffing related issues, like they
Yeah.
like staff people up there, but it's certainly interesting. I'm sure it'll be the same sort of vibe as it was during like the 19 playoffs, where it was like not all of it's opened, but like
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure it
open.
won't go to the
Oh
back
yeah, no,
of
no,
it, but just
definitely
the fact
not.
that it's open, a lot of people have I like sitting, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy sitting up there. It's a great view up there. But
Yeah,
yeah, they
third
have
deck
that.
would go hard if they
Third deck
put
all
that
inclusive.
package up there.
Maybe
That
maybe
that
that's what they're I don't know. Maybe they're soft launching at the Sky Deck and I don't know.
I
maybe.
mean, that would be fun.